Alright, so initially I was going to do a review on the quad lock mount quite a while ago, but my review at that point was going to be negative, and so I kind of decided at that point that I was going to sort of test everything for a while first and then give a fair review. So now the truth is I don't use it a whole lot, and part of the reason I chose this bike was because of the lack of stuff in front of you and the lack of technology. It's part of being on the road and being on two wheels is just about you on the road. But so I opted for the mirror mount, which you cannot tighten down to where it won't move under any circumstances. It can't happen, which is a little bit annoying. But the part that was kind of really bad, so I initially ordered the mirror mount, the shock mount, and then you get the regular mount and then the case. Now the case is awesome in my opinion. I think that's great. It works just as good as my OtterBox did. As you can tell, I've dropped it before. But I had to order almost every accessory they have just to get a working setup, which wasn't cool. So the initial price was basically just the start of it, because I had to order multiple spacers, I had to order the bar, and they don't make one that fits bars this size, so this was my option. And as you can see, it barely clears everything just from there, but like it does move. There's not a way to tighten it down really well. Now, does it do what they say it's going to do? Yes, it holds your phone. You can mount it however you want it. The shock does kind of work, but your phone still vibrates like crazy. But it doesn't go on like you see in any of their advertisements or videos. It's a little bit of a pain to get on. It's easy to get off, but it's a little bit of a pain to get on. And for what it is, I would say it's worth it, but just know going into it that you're probably going to need several other things just to make it work, depending on your setup. Now they have the ones that go in the pen. This isn't that type, so that wasn't an option for me. So it was only mirror or bars, and I don't know. It's okay, but the thing that I like about it is that it really doesn't take up a lot of space when you're not using it. It's not like the RAM mount that's just this big huge thing that's always there. So for that, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up on that. I'm not really sure if I'd recommend it or not, though, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, it does work, but it's just kind of a pain. And if you want something minimal and you want a phone mount that you're not necessarily going to use all the time, and you want it to be low profile when you're not using it, then I would say it's a plus. I would use this over most of the other mounts solely for that reason, just because it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. But I don't know, to each his own. It's worth a try, but just know you're getting into something bigger most likely. And then the GoPro mounts. This was a nightmare. And I have the other one. So this one here is the one that they say is for handlebars for a motorcycle. Now, that is supposed to fit these bars based on all the specs on their website. The largest size for that is actually the smallest size you can do on this one, and this one is supposed to be for roll cages. Now, as you can see, it's tightened down pretty much as you could do it, but this one barely fits there. So I had initially left a review of the actual handlebar mount on GoPro's website, and they responded and basically told me I was doing it wrong, and then deleted their response and my review. So that was a little bit weird, because my main complaint was it doesn't fit the actual size that it says it does. Because if this fits, that should fit, but it doesn't. Now, this is another thing that I don't leave on all the time. It's on there right now because I'm using it today, but I don't know, it was a little bit frustrating, and having to order two of them just to get one to work correctly was not great in my opinion, but whatever. It does what they have. I love the GoPro camera, and I think it's amazing, but their accessories are sort of yet to be desired. And I actually recently had a problem where all of my videos on the GoPro Cloud suddenly became corrupt, and their customer service and technical support is trash, even with the subscription. So there's a lot of experimenting going on. So I've had this mount and the quad lock mount for probably, let's see, I got them in December, and it's now mid-March, or I guess mid to late March. But if you're going to use a GoPro, you kind of don't have a whole lot of options. You kind of have to go with them, which is fine, you know, because they're not, these aren't super expensive. I think this was $30, and I think that one was $20. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. All in all, I have no idea what I actually spent on the quad lock setup, just because I have a whole pile of accessories back at the house. So I don't know. I guess I have to give the GoPro mounts a good review, because if you're going to use it, you kind of don't have a lot of options. But again, it's sort of a minimalist thing, and you could take this part off and still, you know, and still have it low profile if you leave it there. But you know, you can take it off pretty easily. So that's my most accurate review of these so far, I think. I guess I would recommend both, but it depend on what you're trying to do, and you know how much you're trying to expose. But yeah. Then I also just got finally my seat after 3 months, my Born Scum Saddleman. I have about 200 miles on it right now, so it's got some time before I can really give that an honest review. But so far, I would say it's good. Also throw the K&N on there too, but that'll be a review for a later time as well.